Hey, what's up, Street Dogs? Eric from the Eric Street Photography blog. So just wanted to do a quick video with y'all. First of all, happy Thanksgiving, happy holidays, blah blah. So I wanted to share with you some random turbo thoughts I've been having about, photography, life, and other stuff in general. So the first one is this. Photography is all a matter of perspective. So I think a lot of us photographers and artists, we tend to get too caught up on am I good? Am I bad? How are people gonna view me? Blah, blah. And I feel like that's the wrong answer and the wrong question to ask ourselves. Probably what's more important is asking ourselves, why am I doing X, Y, and Z? And also, what is my unique perspective? So this is why I'm actually a big fan of super ultra wide angle lenses, even the new iPhone Pro and the iPhone 11 having the ultra wide angle, or even on the Ricoh GR version 3 using the 21mm adapter. I think it's super exciting that we could use this opportunity for us to just share our perspective with the world. And I think that this applies to anything in art. It's not just photography, it's blogging, it's writing, it's poetry, it's film, it's theater. Ultimately, all the art we create is a reflection about our own personal life, our own personal life journey. And I feel that as photographers too, that means only photograph what you care about and only share with others about stuff you care about. And it could be so simple, like photographing people you love, photographing yourself. It could be shooting a selfie. It could be, photographing your food, the things and sights to see. Because let's say you go to Paris. Obviously, everyone's already gone to Paris, and you're not probably gonna offer a unique perspective on a landmark. But I think if you use yourself as the natural filter and only photograph what personally interests you, then your photos are much more likely to be interesting. Because whenever I look at a photographer, I want to see their personality through their images. So for example, Elliott Erwitt is one of my favorite photographers because when you look at his photos, you could see his humor, which is great. And also Henri Cartier-Bresson, I think his genius was when you look at his pictures, you could see the surrealism, you could see the artistry behind his images and kind of what he's going for. And also with Richard Avedon, you could get a sense of his sensuality or his love of the human form through his images and thus so forth. And I've said this in a video in the past, but just because somebody else has done it before doesn't mean you can and you should not do it yourself. Because otherwise you would just think about the argument people have had kids in the past. My kids will probably never be as good as their kids. Why would I have kids? That's not even a question. You have kids because you want to have your own kids. And it's impossible to know how your kids or how your whatever is going to turn out before you actually attempt it. And so therefore we shouldn't let, thinking is X, Y, and Z going to be good or bad, be a consequence of deciding to do something or deciding not to do it. I think what's more important is us deciding to do things because we enjoy it, because we're interested, because we care. And so in photography, realize that all the photos that you shoot, that you care about and show your personal perspective are pretty much good photographs. So once again, some practical thoughts. Shoot with ultra wide angle lens, just shoot with your iPhone, Ricoh GR3, whatever it may be. Keep it super small and compact because the more you have your camera with you, I think sometimes actually the photos of mundane everyday life could actually be the much more interesting photos rather than the fantastical of the exotic and so forth. So share your perspective with others and just photograph your daily life. I think even when I look at other people's pictures, I'm not so interested in their trip to India because I've seen those kind of pictures a trillion times, but I'm probably more interested in looking at photos of, their loved ones, their kids, their partners, themselves, and so forth. So just kind of ask yourself, don't think of are these photos good or not? It's what about my perspective do they show to the world? So for example, in my photos, I think my photos show some sort of hope or optimism in human beings and also some sort of joy, but also I tend to have this love of the minimalist simple, zen, wabi-sabi, black and white, monochrome, high contrast aesthetics. And I think it shows my predilection for loving abstract art and loving minimalism and simplicity. And in some ways I'm very optimistic about humanity, but in some ways I'm also kind of a pessimist. But ultimately it's optimism which shows my photos. So like, even if you Google like Dark Skies Over Tokyo by Eric Kim, you'll see kind of the photos feel a little bit dark, but still I think there's some sort of ray of light through the tragedy or through the darkness. But anyways, what are your personal thoughts on, like, you know, what are your perspectives? What are your thoughts? What are your views that you're trying to share with your photos? Feel free to leave a comment down below and never stop sharing your perspective. Thanks a lot for watching, guys. Peace out.